Hello, I want to talk about the little mod that has to be done to an electric blanket before you could use it with the Schumann frequency oscillator and pulsar. And we have a couple of controllers on the electric blanket in front of us, or in front of me. And here's one. I'll come back to this one in a second. Here's another one. Um, and here's the part that I want to talk about for a second. This is the plug that actually plugs into the electric blanket. This is a single control station electric blanket, one that only has one station control. You can get large blankets with two. We're referring to just a simple electric blanket, whatever size it is. There's three wires. As you can see, there's three holes for connecting to a male. This be the female. There's three wires. The two outer wires in this cable that I'm tapping are hot wires, and the very center wire is the common ground for both the hot wires. Both hot wires that go to each side of the blanket, they're not individually controlled. They're controlled together with this one controller, with the common in the middle of the blanket. And that's the way it's heated up. You basically have two coils in most heat blankets. And I've had blankets that have failed on one coil. Just flexing it so much it just broke internally or something like that. Just didn't heat up anymore on half the blanket. Okay, well, at the other end of this, at the controller end of this particular wire, you see you have two wires going into the controller. Here's that three-wire one that I'm holding, pinching between. That has to be cut. The other wire is the wire that plugs into your AC outlet. So when you finish, I have a controller that I actually did modify or remove, and you can see I actually cut the cable part or the wire part that goes to the heat blanket. It has the plug on the other end, plugs into the heat blanket. I've cut it off, and I cut it close to the controller, so I had all that length of wire. I'm reaching over. I have the heat blanket on a futon bed over there right now, and the wire was about 10 feet long, so they give you a long wire. This is the end that was cut off that I put a plug on. I took the two hot leads, which are the outer leads. I think I've actually, you can see a little red tint to the two outers and a black line down the middle. The two red being hot, and I wrapped them together, stripped them and wrapped them together and connected them to one plug. And of course the center wire connected to the other. And that is the mod that you want to make to a heat blanket. If you plug this into the wall, the heat blanket will go on full blast. If you want to bring back your controller, put a female plug back on there so you can plug them together, and you haven't destroyed a blanket or you haven't done anything. Actually, you have done something. You made this now functional with the Schumann resonant frequency pulsar. Controller, oscillator, and the pulsar. So this will eventually get plugged into a pulsar. Pulsar is connected to the Schumann frequency generator, and it will pulse and control the heat blanket. You can control the intensity, of course, with the duty cycle. If I didn't mention it before, that's how you do it. You control the intensity with the duty cycle. So with that, I'm going to move on to video 2 and give a final presentation, a little show and tell with the scope, the freak meter, and a demonstration light. This will represent the heat blanket because we do not want to look at a heat blanket and watch heat. You can't see heat, but you can see a light flashing. This will be a representation of the electricity that would be provided to the heat blanket. We're just providing it to a light bulb so you get a visual. So with that, we'll catch you on video 3.